What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tony Cotillo Show right here. I am Tony Cotillo. Tonight, though, it's pins and knockouts. It is the wrestling segment. Like I told you before, I'll tell you it again. All different segments like to do crossover court, which would be for basketball, spiking and pigskin, which would be for football, beyond the bases, which will be for baseball, the actual live Tony Cotillo Show where we talk anything and everything. And tonight is the pins and knockouts because I am a huge wrestling fan. Okay. And continue to be a huge wrestling fan. And tonight, I am absolutely shocked. So I want to talk about a lot. Obviously, Gunther wins back the world heavyweight title. From Jey Uso, only 51-day reign, 28-day intercontinental reign, only 51-day world championship reign. Want to talk about the return of Nikki Bella, the return of Bailey, who I'm happy to see. I hope she gets a really good run. I'm personally not a huge fan of Becky Lynch, so if we could spoil the whole Becky Lynch, the man, return a little bit with Bailey, I would love to see it. And then obviously on top of that, we also have, listen, R-Truth pronouncing himself like we all knew would happen at Ron Killings. And I like the way he did it. I do, because they're buying in to this. Everybody brought him back, whether it's right or wrong, they're buying into it. And I like it. And I like what Truth did. I like what Ron Killings did. Now it's not a gimmick anymore. Now it's not a sideshow, right? He's showing like this dude, listen, for his age, he's in better shape than some of the wrestlers that are 20 years younger than him. Okay. Which I love to see. So shout out to Ron Killings. And I can't wait to see what they do with that character moving forward. And then I think that the best part of the night that I want to get into, because we talk about as wrestling fans, we talk about as wrestling hosts, we talk about it all the time where we watch the WWE consistently bury younger talent. They bury the younger talent for the Hall of Famers, for the legends, right? But the wrestlers who already have their flowers. Finally, that didn't happen tonight. And I loved it. I did. I absolutely loved it. I will say this. I will always be and continue to be a Bella Army supporter. I absolutely love Nikki Bella. I love everything that she's done in the wrestling ring. I love everything that she's done outside of the ring. And the reason why I say it, because she went through a horrific neck injury. With her, I can't tell you, I'm not a good with the vertebrae specialist, but what she did and all the work she put in to come back, knowing that she could re-injure herself, obviously at a higher rate, just to see her perform at that level come back, I thought was fantastic. So big Nikki Bella fan. And I'm glad that I want to get back to the original point that they allow Liv Morgan to go over in this segment. We didn't watch Liv Morgan get laid out by Nikki Bella. We didn't watch it. We didn't watch, Brie come out and spoil everything. No, we watched Liv Morgan show why she is the next big thing, why she is carrying that women's division on so many different levels. And I absolutely love it. I was a huge, still, as she's different now, honestly. Always was a huge Alexa Bliss person. Loved the Alexa Bliss character when Alexa Bliss was actually Alexa Bliss, right? When she was actually Alexa Bliss. I love that character. And I'm actually pissed off that they went away from that character. And I think now that you have that in Liv, and I think Liv can only be better. Really. I mean, everything that she's done. I mean, from the Riot Squad to now, you look at the accolades that Liv Morgan has done, right? You look at how she has grown, what she has done. I mean, it's fantastic. So I am glad they didn't do what they did to Lyra when Becky came back. I am so happy so happy that they did what they did tonight. I am. I think that was a great segment. I think it just shows that how much trust they have in Liv Morgan and how much they want to involve her as we move forward into this next regime, so to speak, because there is a lot of things going on. We're going to have the women's evolution pay-per-view or PLE, a premium live event, whatever the hell you want to call it. But speaking of trust, let's get to the Jey Uso topic of discussion. I will say this. Sometimes you have to read and understand where a lot of this is going. You have to. You have to read it. You have to understand. There was a lot of talk, and I know people that follow me and people that follow WWE and follow wrestling will understand this conversation. But there was a lot of talk about Jey Uso maybe being a little too extra. And what I mean by that is, listen, the Yeet thing, amazing. The way he basically was able to latch onto the crowd, the way he got the biggest pops, right? Get all that, great. But I never felt, and a lot of people have felt this way, that Jey never knew how to tone it down. Jey always, and you saw, listen, you saw it. He was in matches, he was visibly tired, exhausted. He was missing spots in his matches. I love Jey Uso. I love the rise of Jey. I love it. I get it. However, if you're realistic and you're really looking at this, you had to be able to see this coming. They did give him the reins. They gave him the opportunity. Okay, they did. But no matter what, I feel like Jey's personality and Jey's extra personality, which when he would go all out, all in, it actually hurt him a little bit. And he didn't know how to shut it off, in my opinion. And because he didn't know how to shut it off, that's what in the end, I think that was his kryptonite. And I think the bookers, whether it be Trips, right, whether it be Michael Hayes, whoever it is, whether it be Road Dogg, Brian James, whoever is putting him in this position, I think they saw it. And I think they said, listen, we know, again, is anybody going to be happy with a 51-day title reign? Well, people are going to people would be happy who haven't had a title reign at all. Okay. Right. I mean, let's be honest. But if you look at it from one perspective, they have so much time to say, okay, hey, Jey, this is what happened. Now we build you back up. Now you understand. You understand what it takes to be a champ. And I don't mean in the ring. I mean out of the ring. I mean, obviously all the appearances, all the extra training, all the all the extra segments, all the extra shows, like all this stuff together. Sometimes the younger wrestlers or the new generation of wrestlers that become, gold stake champions, sometimes they fall back a little bit and it takes them some time. And I do think this is where Jey Uso will come back stronger than ever. I do think that that's eventually the plan, in my opinion. And now we see how this sets up. You see the Money in the Bank briefcase, right? With Seth, is it going to be Cena? Is it going to be Gunther? I think this sets up for a lot of different things with Gunther. I think obviously he's a yesteryear wrestler who I think is needed right now, because so many people do so many different things that are the same. And now you have Gunther who comes out and he gives you that kind of historian-esque with the big boots, just the simple tights, nothing crazy, no knee pads, no elbow pads, no crazy gimmicks, no nothing. He's just who he is. And I think that is something that is needed right now. And I do think that they know this and they understand this, within the WWE. And I do think that Jey will get that opportunity once again. But speaking of opportunity, one thing that I've been noticing, and I noticed again tonight, and I know everybody else noticed it as well, was the rise, the absolute historic rise, the quick rise of Penta. And the pops that this guy is getting, and the way he's been able to take over a crowd, the way he's been able to take over a match. I ain't seen this in a long time. And I don't think you people have seen this in a long time. And I think they know this. And I think they understand it. I think they have something special there with Penta. I really do. So many different wrestlers try to do these suicide moves and these high orchestrated spots. And listen, not no disrespect to these wrestlers, but some of them just come up short. They try too hard. They don't look right. They look, just a little off. It's tough, but you have Penta who comes out with the music. You have Penta who comes out with the pop, the move set. He comes out with it all and he delivers. Every match Penta has, he delivers. And I think going forward, there's some big things in the works for Penta, and I'm excited. I'm extremely excited to see what they do with Penta. And I also think that it was very interesting that some of the little things that you notice and hear. I love the CM Punk John Cena kind of format. I love it. I think it's needed. I think it's wonderful. If you notice that CM Punk, which you have to love about Punk, is they still allow him, and I know it's orchestrated. I think we all do, but you still allow him to be that pipe bomb kind of guy. He mentioned tonight he mentioned TKO. He mentioned Endeavor. He mentioned the final boss. Like, he threw all that out there. And I think that was so smart and calculated, whether it was just on his part, whether it was Trips, whoever it was so calculated for him to say that, because they read the noise, they hear the noise, they understand. And guess what? The voice of the voiceless, that's who he is. So he's grabbing our opinions, he's grabbing everybody's frustration, and he's putting it into that promo. And I think it was brilliant. I do. And I think it was fantastic, because the Cena thing for me, I don't really know if I love it, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I continue to talk about it. I continue to say it. I honestly, in the beginning, I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool." But right now, honestly, I would have loved to have Cena just ride it out as John Cena, man. Honestly, um, I just think this feels so forced every single week. And maybe it's me, right? Maybe it's me. Maybe I'll get in the comments and people will tell me, "Oh no, man, this is great." I don't know, man. It just seems forced to me. It does. It seems very, very forced. I would have much rather watched John Cena come in with a killer promo and rip somebody down the sides like he did with Roman Reigns back in the day, right? I would love to see that. But right now, we're not getting that. We're not getting any of that. We're getting the same thing over and over again. Right? We know it, and it's, to me, it's run dry. It's run dry. I think the idea in the beginning sounded fantastic. It was different, but I think that's when you had the bloodline aspect involved. You had The Rock involved. You had so many different things. Now you don't have any of that. So what are we going to do? We're going to continue to run through these wrestlers. He's got what, 20 dates left. We know CM Punk's not going to beat him. We understand that. He'll continue to have the title. Is the big dog is Roman Reigns going to come back? Is he going to be the guy? Is that going to be finally, the pinnacle of the John Cena experience, that he finally loses the belt to the best guy in Roman Reigns, right? I don't know. I honestly, I want to see the old John Cena, man. Maybe it's me. Maybe somebody else feels that way too. But that's the way I feel. I want to see the older John Cena. And also there's a lot of different returns that are going to be coming back as well in the up and coming week. So I think that's going to be very, very interesting. Isla, Dragunov is coming back soon, man. Remember, he had the devastating injury, and he's going to be coming back. And you know how high they were on Dragunov, right? I mean, I was high on. I thought his gimmick was fantastic. I loved it, right? So I do like that. There's still these wait in the wings wrestlers that don't even have a spot yet. That don't even have a spot yet. So I think that's absolutely key. And I think that going forward, this whole Braun Breaker, who Braun Breaker, man, looking to see him jump up and do that Frankensteiner, and Braun Breaker is what we all want in wrestling, right? We don't want to watch them stupid suicide dives that we know you're going to go through the second rope, you're barely going to hit somebody, you're going to throw your hands in their chest and act like it's this big, big, crazy move, man. Braun Breaker, he does nothing that's not hard. He does nothing that's not full speed. He does nothing that's not extra, man. And he makes it so realistic. I mean, obviously, he has the tutelage and the lineage in his family, but now he's got the wise man on the side too, pulling those strings, which is fantastic for him. So I'm very curious to see if this is going to go the way we always think it's going to go. Could there possibly be a Brock Lesnar return where, oh my God, here comes Brock? It's Brock and Braun. I mean, could we see something like that kind of orchestrate itself when we talk about the Seth Rollins effect here? Because I'm not loving the whole concept for Seth. I'm not. I still think, I don't care what anybody says. I don't want to hear wait his time. That briefcase should have been in the hands of LA Knight and not Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is now given everything again. Seth Rollins to me has been given everything in the past, right? He's been given everything by the authority. He's already been given Money in the Bank, one of the most unbelievable turn-ins at WrestleMania of all time. I'll never forget it. But he's been given all of this already, and he's getting more. Why LA Knight continues to live in that mid card and get to that next step, and then they knock him down. And he gets the next step, and they knock him down. Next step, and they knock him down. I mean, here's the difference. Everybody says, well, that's what they do with AJ Styles right now. But AJ Styles is a Hall of Famer. AJ Styles has already paid his dues. AJ Styles has already won multiple titles and had some hellacious title reigns. LA Knight's still trying to get that first one. And every time you get his popularity up to a certain point, you knock it down. Another guy I look at is Sami Zayn. I don't think anybody was ever hotter than Sami Zayn in that bloodline scenario. He should have won that title against Roman Reigns. That was their time to really capitalize. And they did it in the past with guys like Daniel Bryan. Right? They did it in the past when they were just so over that they had to do it. And I think they missed that boat on Sami Zayn. And I think they missed the boat on LA Knight, man. I do. I don't think he'll ever get to where he was a year ago. He's still going to be popular. People are going to still, obviously, they're going to buy him. But I just think that they're never going to get to that point of where they were at with LA Knight, to where he was just ripping houses down, man. He was ripping houses down. And we heard about before it was the age. We heard it was he didn't. I don't want to hear any of that, man. I don't want to hear any of that, because we've watched them make concessions for other wrestlers at that same age, at the same point, for different reasons and different variations. So I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see it. I just want to see LA Knight with some gold. I really, really do. I want to see LA Knight with some gold. But listen, I was extremely happy. Can't wait for tomorrow for NXT to see what happens on NXT. Always, obviously, you never know what's going to pop off on NXT, and obviously on SmackDown as well. So I'll be back doing some quick check-ins on the pins and knockouts. Obviously, a lot of short form content as well. Like I said, I like to hop on here as part of the Tony Cotillo show. Instead of throwing the segments into the actual show, let's just do these segments that are staying alone. So if you want to get involved, obviously throw the comments in. I'm very, very active, whether it be on TikTok, whether it be on Instagram or YouTube. Always going to be there, answering the threads, talking it up, engaging with the audience. Make sure you follow the Tony Cotillo show, obviously on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you get your content at. And as always, Fighting for Overtime, a youth sports pod where, again, I bring some realistic conversations and very heartfelt conversations with real people, with real personalities about the youth sports scene, about what their trials and tribulations were, their anxiety, their mental health struggles, what they see, whether it be as a coach, a parent, or a former player, what they've been through and what obstacles they jump through to kind of help that younger generation of youth sports athletes that are coming up. Again, Fighting for Overtime on all platforms, wherever you get your podcast from as well. That's it for me, man. Tony Cotillo show here. We're going to wrap it up, the Raw recap this week, pins and knockouts. And again, LA Knight needs to get some damn gold. All right, baby, I'm out.